So, good morning, Anambra, this morning. And I like to believe that you had a very super weekend. I did. Perhaps that's why I'm here this morning. Okay, do stand by now as we'll bring you the next program on schedule, which is our press review. By the way, my name is Ijoma Uche. Welcome. Okay, welcome again. Joining me this morning to look at what the papers are saying is Samuel Ululu. He is a public affairs analyst. I hope I have graduated in.
Calling the name. Yeah, you got it correctly.
Okay.
IJ, good morning. Ndanambra, good morning. Daluno, I wish each and every one of us a happy and productive new week.
Thank you very much. Okay. Of course, let's begin from where we should, which is from our website. And as we bring you the news that are making the rounds there, the first one says Anambra Police Command nabs 7 suspected cultists. Armed robbers recovers arms. Synod, Archbishop Ibezin calls for release of IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu. And then Anambra State Government presents Correctional Services Bill to State Assembly. These and many more are the stories making the round from our website this morning, www.absradiotv. Yes, Samololo. Let's look at what's going on in Okka. Recently, it does appear there's an upsurge of criminalities and killings and a whole lot of things, cult activities going on in Anambra State, thereby making it difficult for people to feel free to enjoy what is on ground for us, as the government is working very hard to ensure that everything works well, that this place is livable. But these young boys have vowed that they will make this place unlivable for us. And just now, the police have nabbed a whole lot of them. So what can you say about the security situation in Anambra State?
Generally, it is worrisome, and I would quickly add that the insecurity we are facing in Anambra State, just as it is in virtually every other parts of the country, did not really start today. And going back to the root, what do we expect from a society where majority of its populace are able-bodied youths who are unemployed, who are underemployed, who see the government living in affluence and they don't know where their next meal will come from, not making an excuse for them really. Unfortunately, during the last administration, that is Chief Willie Obiano, he always said Anambra is the safest state. That was a political statement for me because government is relational. The way other persons feel the impact of government is different from the way I might feel the impact of government. And the issue of this cultists operating in Anambra State, just as they also operate in other places, has always been there. And the question is, what is the police doing, the security agencies doing to forestall it? What we are seeing here is a total breakdown of law and order. People no more see hope that there is benefit in hard work, and they now look for sharp practices, easy cuts, and this has made them very, very liable to crime. And I'm happy that the police, as reported from the ABS News today, apprehended some cultists. So beyond apprehending them, it is good, it is a great work. We want them to ensure that they cover every nook and cranny of the state to make the citizens feel safe. And I want the police also to improve on information gathering, intelligence gathering. These are the things that we need in our society to grow. Finally, we know the issue of IPOB. We know where Nnamdi Kanu is. For a long time, he has been there. Many of us have called that there should be a political solution to this. Let the citizens, and this time around, the Igbos, feel that they are part of Nigeria. We see how other tribes are being treated. Why is it that Igbos are always made to feel the brunt of what is going on in the country? Finally, the state government talking about correctional bill that they have sent to the state assembly. It's a good one. And we want to see a correctional center where those people who run short or foul of the law would go in there, get full rehabilitation, come out stronger, come out better to impact in the society. I remember some time ago, the correctional service conversation, it initially used to be an exclusive, used to stay at the exclusive bill, but recently it was brought down to the concurrent. That means the federal government and the state government can work together, and this is why the state government has sent this correctional bill to the State House of Assembly. We want them, I will personally look into that bill and study it and make social media and online publication around that as always. But we want the State House of Assembly to critically look at every component of it. No Nigerian should go into the prison and come out hardened or come out confused.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that is the bottom line, considering the name correctional centers.
Exactly.
Okay, you go in to be corrected and not to get to be worse than you entered.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you very much, Sam. Okay, now having looked at the stories from our website, of course, you can always go into our website and see details of the stories there. But let's now venture into the papers and find out what's going on in the national tabloids. Okay, the first paper this morning is the Daily Times newspaper. Tinubu's son on Shagri's board, a conflict of interest. And this is coming from Atiku. The writer there says, investors can't come to Nigeria through propaganda. Of course, I was beginning to wonder whether Tinubu's son is a minister of any whatever, because I don't know. When in Nigeria, you get into power, every member of your family will get into power as well, talking and discussing national issues as if it's a family thing. High cost of medicine. Federal government promises to make drugs available. Okay, I think it should make health care available. I mean, food and other things that the environment that we need to be in and feel good instead of falling sick and looking for drugs. Traditional Rulers Council tax Nigerians on unity, prayers for leaders. And then Nigeria-UK trade relations currently worth £7 billion. This is coming from the envoy. And the LEA cracks down on drug syndicate, arrest 5 in international operations. Okay, and down here, Benue government orders warring communities to keep off disputed river. That's all coming from this Daily Times. Let's look at the Punch newspaper. Punch newspaper, ever busy front page. Lagos Calabar Highway, telcos fear shutdowns as construction threatens cables. With some rider there, riders, undersea fiber cables linking Europe to Nigeria pass through construction corridor, Altain and Aton. I hope you're not going to have the same problem we had when the dad of the sea caught, the cable in the sea. Okay, down here, or up there, we have Tinubu to get ministers' Q1 assessment reports. 9 banks earmarked 383 billion naira for legal dispute claims. Dangote, Unilever, 5 others cut 1,281 jobs in 1 year. Oh my God, we are in for a bigger problem. Okay, all right, that's all we're taking from here. Let's see another paper, which is the Vanguard newspaper. Local firms IOC is to bid for 12 offshore, 7 deep offshore oil blocks. It's the banner headline on Vanguard newspaper. Marketers remain upbeat as petrol scarcity enters 3rd week. Okay, Edo Guba, Obasekides, Obi-led Legacy Group, and then multiple checks. Fan NSA moved to reduce security agents at airports. Employers labor angry over unending fuel scarcity. As okay, Minister waits in as condemnation threats FIJ journalist arrest. Okay. Yeah, before we look at other papers, let's get talking. Samololo, starting from the Daily Times that we reviewed first.
I will continue to say that one thing I see clearly playing out in Nigeria is I've always maintained this position. There is usually time for politicking and time for governance. And when it's time to play politics, no problem, you play your politics, even though we always call on our political actors to play a politics with human face. Then when it is time for governance, everybody is expected to live by the rules of law as enshrined in the Constitution. I admit that there is a place for the first family, even though it is not clearly written in the Constitution. I also admit that there are offers that these people may have because their father is the president. But it is getting out of hand that in a country where we have 250 million citizens, everything that is going on in the country sometimes is not being determined by the president himself. The president has allowed what we would always call the kitchen cabinet, his family members, to have unbearing influence in what is going on in the country. And that is why we see what is going on. I know normally the president has his cabinet members that he works with, and issues around road construction is for the Minister of Work. I know that. It is now disturbing that when we talk major construction that the country is going on, even though there has been a lot of question mark concerning the Lagos Calabar coastal highway, what is the joining factor that is bringing some people that are not even supposed to come to the picture? I think if we want Nigeria to really grow, to get working, we are talking about foreign direct investment, forgetting that before these investors even come into the country, there are a lot of indices that they look at. They look at your governance system. They look at the players. They look at the stability of your currency. They look at the willingness and then the security level of the citizens before they can come in to invest. And it is only these investments that bring that productivity that we are talking about. Unfortunately, we are not seeing it in Nigeria. We wouldn't want, just as the last administration spent complete 8 years with Nigerians having themselves worse off than they were in 2015 when they came on board. We wouldn't want that to also happen to us. So we want the president to really show us that he is in charge. He cannot tell us that he's in charge, and currently we are talking about high cost of drugs as things that we should get as drugs. Nigeria have many drug manufacturing industries in the country, and some of them are threatening to shut down in the account of what the Manufacturing Association of Nigeria had said. If you go to primary healthcare centers, initially we were always complaining that these drugs are not available. Currently, beyond the drugs not available, we are now saying the little ones that are available are exorbitant, they cannot be purchased. So what happens to the pregnant women who sometimes need these drugs? And let us not forget that there are children whom would need these drugs too. Is it anti-malaria drugs? Is it typhoid drugs and all whatnot? If these drugs continue to remain expensive, how do they want Nigerians to survive? I made a tweet this morning and I said, unfortunately, Nigeria is battling between good and evil. And I think as citizens, we must take a stand. It is no more when we should be neutral. It is either you fight for the good to succeed, or you stay in the side of the evil. And if we are all caught up on it, then woe betide all of us. But what is happening, our living condition is going down every day. Recently, education-wise, we know the level that we are. The students that just carried out JAMB, we know these are indices that we use to check the growth rate of a country. But it is nothing. When it comes to, as the other newspaper, I think Vanguard talked about foreign direct investment and then offshore investors wanting to take over. That is where, when the money is high, when it concerns political actors, when it concerns the elite, that is where you see government being proactive. But things that concerns the citizens, like affordable food, and these are stable, these are the standard of living, what we think should be, no matter what happens, government should not even play with those words. Food, shelter, health care, education. Security. These things are the things government should not play politics with. We keep talking about the amount that they spend. We keep talking about the kind of contracts that they go into. What we see here is misplaced priority. And unfortunately, at the indices of maternal child death rate, in 2030, the target of the world, which Nigeria, SDG target, which Nigeria is part of it, is to reduce it minimally. But every day, every indices shows that we are going high. And what is the government doing about it? I think it is high time that the government begin to prioritize correctly, because I would not really say they should look at the direction of the health care, because in as much as that is important, in education, it is also needed. What the kind of politics they play around oil blocks and international organization communities and companies putting their interests, they should also channel that, the basic minimum, to the standard of living of Nigerians. And that is what we want, to really be glad that we are citizens of Nigeria. Otherwise, no matter what they do, they are failing as a government.
Talking about basic needs of Nigeria, look at what's going on in the fuel pricing. Like yesterday, I was coming from Onitsha. I bought 800 naira for 1 liter of fuel to transport myself from Onitsha to this place. And now this story says marketers remain upbeat as petrol scarcity enters third week. What is that is going on?
Now, that is the funny thing. Even the marketers, I know last week and last 2 weeks, there was this trade of words between NNPC and petrol oil marketers. When NNPC was saying that they have a lot of oil, they have enough oil, while marketers are saying that they don't see the oil. And this is what we're talking about, a government of propaganda.
A few days ago, we heard that Dangote is expecting crude oil from USA to start refining in his refinery in Nigeria. Nigeria that produces and sells crude oil is importing crude oil from USA.
So does this not show you that Nigeria needs, should we call it, needs to go into intensive care unit? That is what is obvious. And
is it confirming the story we heard that our crude oil has been sold up front for 3 years by the past administration?
So you see, and I have my concerns about this whole thing.
Oh, God help us.
We should not continue to live in a country and in a society where people do whatever they want and get away with it. Mm-hmm. It is unacceptable, and that is why most times those people who have lived on the largesse of the government, who have squandered everything from the government, would want to put their own cronies, so that when those ones go in, they would support and cover them up.
Cover their tracks.
And unfortunately, if they hand over to their own persons, those people would continue to cover them up and look for other means to milk the country.
Covering them up at our expense. And that nobody fights evil. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on and see the remaining of the papers. The Nation newspaper is our next paper this morning. We'll keep talking on these stories. Okay, the banner headline here says, government begins disbursement of 50 billion naira grant to small farms. Small firms. Okay, 1 million businesses in 774 local councils to benefit from free cash. when they talk about all this disbursement and whatever, I kept wondering, I've never seen anybody that said that he collected anything. I don't know where all these things are entering. Edun, charting course for fiscal stability, economic prosperity, is the story we'll have on top of the name template of the Nation newspapers. And then down here, why UK stops students from bringing families by envoys. Okay, Zenith Bank grossed 781 billion naira in first quarter. Lagos government reassures residents of their safety. Okay, down here, do we have another story coming from here? Okay, banks await CBN's decision on submitted recapitalization plans. This recapitalization, will it ever stop? Are new banks coming up? Or does it mean that the ones that are there are continually being swallowed? That means the economy is not growing. As a matter of fact, Guardian newspaper is a newspaper place. Guardian newspaper, banks orders shop for over 3 trillion naira from broke investors, lame market. Okay, and then other stories coming from here. Anxiety as INEX report fails to recognize Ondo APC Guba primary. And northern leaders, NNPP, warn federal government against defense pact with US and France. Down here, unattainable fuel scarcity amid deregulation. A lingering fuel crisis, worsening capacity utilization productivity, says NECA. Okay, from 30,000 naira to 615,000 naira, visibility hurdles are with minimum wage largesse in states and private sector. Article raises alarm over Tinubu's son's membership of a Shagris board. It's a family business. Okay. What other paper do we still have? Daily Trust. Okay, let's bring them all to the table and then start talking again. Daily Trust newspaper. Banner headline, NAF extras kill many terrorists in Borno, Niger. Show us video picture. That's what we keep asking. Federal government to reconnect 8 Sokoto local governments to national grid after 10 years blackout. FAN, NSA moved to stop multiple checks at airports. Lagos market clash, unions threaten to cut tomato supply to Lagos. And down here, war on Gaza, Israel shuts Al Jazeera's office. U.S. police arrest more pro-Palestinian protesters. This guy is unwavering. Okay, yes. Asabololo.
The Nation rightly put it when it said the government begins disbursement of 50 billion naira grant to small firms. Another, for me, independent view, looking at the trends and patterns, another white elephant project. What do I mean? Sorry. I remember clearly during Goodluck's time, when we had fuel subsidy removal, there were amount of money that they brought up for different programs. Part of it is You Win. I remember some youths being beneficiaries of that You Win program. The big question we ask now is, out of the massive or the large number of youths who benefited from that You Win program, how far are they faring currently? Have they been able to employ more Nigerians? Have they been able to grow their business? That is for Goodluck Jonathan. Let's now fast forward to Buhari's 8 years. I know he did a JEEP, Graduate Enterprise Program. I know he did, okay, traders money, those ones were the ones that the government, through the vice president himself, was trying to use to support the traders. I know he did a couple of programs that they did. The big question mark there is, where are the beneficiaries of those programs?
And what impact?
And what impact
has it had in our
has it
economy?
had in the economy? Both the ones that they said it was on loan, have those people refunded the loan? The ones that they said was on grant, how far are those people doing? Have they carried out evaluation to know the impact of or how those people are faring and what are the challenges that these people are facing. I bet us, if we go deeper into this conversation, we are going to see a lot of issues that marred the success stories that are supposed to be coming out from that kind of intervention. And now here we are, the federal government of this current administration, talking about bringing out 50 billion again.
50 billion.
For
and they
the
can't
same
have money for workers.
for the same
They know
project.
that most of these people that they are giving this grant are living on the salaries of workers.
Exactly.
Every single worker in Nigeria has about minimum of 6 people depending on him or her. So if you add this money to the civil servants, you are indirectly empowering a whole lot of people. They pay school fees, they do a whole lot of things, they even take their, start businesses for family members and a whole lot. Okay? Instead of just bringing out this money and this sharing it, because it doesn't get to anything, I kept saying it, it doesn't get to anybody. It's just another round of money you have mapped out for sharing to people that already have more. Okay? So why not use it, put it where it's supposed to enter, and then trickle down to where it's supposed to go.
So this is a conversation I think we need to be having. Because if you check well, most times when the economy is stimulated, it's usually towards the end of the month and the beginning of the month. What does that tell you? It tells you that that is when civil servants get money from their salary, and then they want to stock up the market, they want to stock up their houses. For those ones running petty projects, maybe they have house project that they run, that is when they want to pay some people and continue their work, which is not even happening now. Like I earlier said, it has gone further to strengthen my position that in Nigeria, I think our leaders know what they are doing. They want to perpetually leave the civil servants at their mercy. They want to perpetually leave them poor so that they can control them as they also wish. It is unfortunate that at this time, where there is more than 150% increase in cost of consumables in the market and sometimes services that civil servants get, civil servants are still crying for their minimum wage to be increased, and the government is playing politics around it. Despite it being constitutional, that at a particular period of time, the minimum wage is expected to be reviewed. And I know we have passed the time range that was allowed in the Constitution, and they are still dilly-dallying. Should it be increased? Should it not be increased? And here we are talking about a government that wants to spend 50 billion on small firms. And I bet you, these small firms, what is the due diligence that the government must have carried out to know that the firms that they are giving it should actually have the right to benefit from it? And when these firms benefit from it, what has the government put in place to ensure that these people don't do business as usual, get the money? Sometimes you see some of them buying cars, sometimes you see some of them getting married to more wives, and then sometimes you see some of them building houses, using it to intimidate other citizens who are law-abiding, making them feel like, okay, they think they need to go the other way to also live a better life. Sometimes you see the one that I am sure that is going to happen. When you take the proportion of the disbursement of this fund, you will see some particular areas or regions having more than another region. These are things showing you that they are using this money to patronize their political loyalists. And other times, you see that the people that will be sharing this money, instead of the ministry to share it as a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the minister will begin to share it as an appendage of a party. You will now begin to hear word A, get me this number. Word B, get me this number. People in that political party are people that will benefit from it.
Come with your voter's
card or showing that you are from this party. By the time they have met the national party leader who has contacted the different states and party leaders, who then go to contact world leaders, then they have already skewed it apart. And we'll keep crying that the economy is falling, and they will keep promising us that they are doing a lot to make the economy grow. When they want to give instances, they will now tell you that they just disbursed 50 billion naira. And they're disbursing 15 billion naira, unfortunately, at a time where we are still crying of student loan. When the president and this current administration came up with that student loan initiative, it made cost of education go high, because institutions now have increased everything that has to do with education costs, because the government said they want to provide student loan that for how many months now they've not. They keep reviewing it. They said they are going to set up a bank for that, a fund for it, and just 5 billion, we've not seen it. I think it's time that the government stop leading by propaganda. What they think they can do,
what Atiku is telling them.
what they think they can do, they should tell the citizens and give the citizens an open book, the criteria that they are using to select the beneficiaries, and not what we are seeing. They just come up with open blanket statement, and when they want to defend it, knowing fully well that it is just their cronies that are beneficiaries, they then say that that is the achievement that they are making and expect Nigerians to support them. I know that Nigerians will know, if they see that the government is working, you will see Nigerians on their own coming out freely to support the government. But with what is going on, it's unfortunate, and we fear that we want the government to actually begin to think for the masses, because Nigerians are really suffering.
Okay, let's look at this story that we omitted here. Outcry over alleged arrest, expulsion of 500 youths in Lagos. Let's actually look at what's going on in Lagos. The other day was demolition of properties, the Okachukwu brothers, and then the other day was in Abuja, Lagos, according to them, because of the, what do you call it, the rail line or whatever thing they're building. And now it is arresting and expulsion of 500 youths in Lagos. What exactly is going on?
Well, what is going on is still attributed to what I said earlier about our leaders playing politics when they're supposed to be doing governance. We know the Constitution of Nigeria guarantees freedom of movement, freedom of association, so everybody has the right to go to wherever they want to go to, stay wherever they want to stay, as long as they are not constituting nuisance stay. And the question is, these people these 500 youths, are they Nigerians? It also makes us understand that our leaders have not allowed themselves to govern the citizens by the dictates of the law. They do it as they think in their head that is what they should do. And unfortunately, when you take these issues to the court, an average Nigerian has lost interest in the court. An average Nigerian, before you even end up getting a fair judgment or fair hearing from the court, you would have spent the money that you don't even have on it. Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate that these things are happening in the country. And why it is happening, some people are coming out to call on the government, to call out the government, instead of other Nigerians who are seeing these things happen, to amplify the voices of the victims. They are supporting the government. I remember clearly during the last administration, during President Muhammadu Buhari's government, when he shut down the social media, that's the Twitter, what did he do? We were calling him out that he's stifling freedom of information and the freedom of association. People came and defended him. Today, we have seen that we are worse off. So I'm calling on every Nigerian citizens to please, they should stop playing by the gallery. They should stop the hypocrisy. They should stop the sycophancy. Nigerians are suffering. Our healthcare system is bad. Our healthcare system is bad.
Okay,
education is bad. And when people complain, we want them to add to the voice.
Okay,
so that the
Sam,
government will
we are
listen
running
to
short
us.
of time. Please, before we go, let's look at what's going on in Gaza. War on Gaza, Israel shuts Al Jazeera's office, and then that's our last paper. Now, airstrike killed many terrorists in Borno. Of course, I asked them to show us proof, because that's what we hear every day, and these things are not abetting. So let's take that finally, shortly, before we go, please.
For me, I would say what is happening in Gaza between the Palestinians and the Israelis just shows that war is never an option. Eventually, everything will still come down to a negotiating table, no matter the kind of damages that have happened. And I happen to work with Justice, Development and Peace Caritas, an NGO, faith-based NGO of the Caritas of Newi, where we have always seen that what development don't come where there is no peace. Where there are crises, unfortunately, the people must understand that there are those who are benefiting from it. There are those who are selling arms. There are those who are smuggling drugs. There are those who are raping our women. There are people who thrive in in a coercive environment, and when everything is calm, they don't really do well. And the unfortunate thing is, it's unfortunate that the youth will continue to allow the leaders, the older generation, to fan the embers of war, then send us who are the youths to go and fight. And I wonder how many of us that have died as a result of this. I wonder how many of us that are now victims of this kind of war. And this is even what is showing us as the terrorists that is happening. The youths are the people that we call these terrorists. And these terrorists are not just terrorists. There are people who are supporting them. There are people who are funding them. There are people who are sponsoring them. There are people who they are fighting for. Then we are now understand that terrorism is no more a Nigerian issue. It's not a global concern. And there are countries, because of their own interests, who would continue to sponsor these terrorists to destabilize other countries so that they can have an upper hand. It's unfortunate that this is happening in a world where we have the United Nations that should be on top of the game to ensure that there is peace and stability across the world. And I think this is a call for the United Nations to really be up and doing. The United Nations was set up for a purpose, and that purpose for which the United Nations was set up, they must live up to it by uniting the countries and reducing every embers of war.
Very, very important. Thank you very much. Sam Olulu, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much for having me, AJ.
Okay. And that's where we're doing the cutting on Newspaper Review this morning. Join us as we move over to the other side for a discussion of the day. Today we're going to look at what is playing out between Nigeria and their expatriates. I'm sure you don't want to miss this. Do stand by.